Fearless Designs is your champion.
Actually run a program the way I wanted to and everything, and learned a lot from Trent too, and he's still with me as a coach, as an assistant coach, and it's been great. And then the funny thing was I actually applied for the St. Mary of the Woods job when it came out. They contacted me, and I had an interview or two and didn't get a call back, and so they had the coach there from November to March, and then he decided he didn't want to do it, and they gave me another call, and thought, yeah, I'll try it again, and there we are. So it's been a long route. 19 years in a coal mine too, in between, or 22 years in a coal mine in between those times, and so I was coaching and working in a coal mine, and but just decided in 2019 I wanted to get out and do what I wanted to do, and went back to school and actually got to graduate this past May, and here we are.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We got to write a country song about that.
You could. Yeah, if there's a train and
There's coal mine.
Yeah.
There's all
We got to find somebody's somebody's mother,
Yeah.
and it's got to be a rainy night, and we'll be all
Been a
right.
heck of a road.
So you got into football then just because opportunity opened up, because you like baseball and football.
Yeah, and that was really, I actually was co-manager of a Legion team for one season, and then got the opportunity to do that. And me and my wife Darcy had just got married. I still remember. What was it? The day we got home from our honeymoon, we had a football meeting that night. And she called me about midnight and was like, "When are you coming home?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's my first one. I don't know how long I'm going to be here." So.
Did she know what she was getting
No,
into?
she had no clue. She had no clue.
And she's still with you?
Yep, she's still with me. She's
Oh,
the rock.
man.
It's kind of the way it works. If it's going to work, it's going to work
Yeah,
that way.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
kinda-
It's the only way.
Well,
That's
really, a coach's wife is like somebody's wife, a military person's wife. You get a lifer, I don't care what branch you're in,
Yeah,
you're gone all the time.
yeah. There's a lot
And
that goes
the
into
wife
it.
has to carry the load, raise the kids,
yep.
fix the leaky sink when you're gone, that type of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I had to fix the leaky sink when I got home.
yeah.
But we talked earlier. My daughter helps out doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like she's still teaching. She's going to teach here at Northview, but she still does stuff. I mean, she packed an equipment kit for me last night. She's like, "Dad, you need help with the equipment kit?" I'm like, "Sure." So, what kind of people do you have that help you out at St. Mary the Woods like that? You
Well,
got people like that?
all of them. My son Trey's our offensive coordinator. He does a lot. He's our recruiting coordinator too. Just does a great job around the office, and of course, designing our offense. And it's been fun to be able to coach with him. And then I got Griffin Olson, who's he's like Radar O'Reilly, from not to date myself, but from MASH. I mean, he does a little bit of everything with the director of football operations, and he's our special teams coach, outside linebackers coach, and just keeps us organized as far as administrative stuff. And then got some great student coaches that are in with us all the time. Regent Hendricks and John Willie, and yeah.
And now you stole one from me.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, Austin,
kinda the
yeah,
way it works.
yeah. Sorry about that, man, but we had to have him.
Well,
Believe me.
And I talked to him. He's like, "Yeah, I know you're not going to be happy." I'm like, "Well, I'm not happy, but you have to do this."
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I think is different with football coaches than maybe others, is you have to have a staff, and you're not going to slow down somebody from bettering themselves.
Right.
To get
Right.
that next
Yeah,
job.
and that's the thing. That's why that's really why I like it. I like having the young guys because they are they're hungry. They want to be coaches. They want to learn, and it's a great opportunity to get more guys into coaching and things like that. I mean, we still have our defensive coordinator Mike Hayden is a teacher at Linton High School. Our offensive line coach is Joe Lorig, who's coached high school and college football for over 50 years. And it's good to have the old school kind of thing, but the young guys, I mean, I couldn't ask for any more than I get from them. I mean, I ask a lot of them, but they've responded really well.
When you look at it, just to give the fans here a little bit of an understanding, sprint football is what's been going on at St. Mary the Woods for several years, and you've
Right.
been at the top level of sprint football in this area, the Midwest Sprint Football League.
Right.
And now you've decided to take the jump to full-fledged NAIA football
Right.
in what I still think is the toughest conference
Yeah,
in the country.
Yeah, I think it's
to
premier.
enter in there, and you're going to have to start not from scratch, which we talked a little bit earlier. You're not really starting from scratch. You still got some of these guys that sprint football, though, is a different breed than what NAIA is.
It is, yeah, it definitely is, and it's it's not an easy transition by any means, especially with us. I mean, we've operated with a limited roster of 70 to 75, and now we'll be our model that we want is going to be about 105 to 110 players. We really don't want to be any bigger than that, but it's it's a matter of just kind of mixing with the recruiting with what you have, and plus we've got a big senior class this year, so I mean we're looking at more than likely going to be needing 65 to 70 guys that we're going to have to recruit. And our biggest recruiting class up until then was our second year. We brought in 46, but there's a bigger pool out there too.
Yeah.
So, and we've got a really good start at it, and we feel good about where we're at. And you're right, there is going to be some changing of positions for guys that want to stay. We want them all to stay, but we also will be there if they want to transfer, and we'll help them go to another sprint school or another school of their choice. We want to help them out, but for the most part, we want them all back.
Well, and when people are looking at the league you're going into, which is the Mid-States Football League, and there's an East and a West division of
Right.
that,
Right.
and more than likely you'll end up in the West.
Yeah,
West
yeah,
side.
we're going to be in the West. Not sure who's going to make the bump over to the East. It'll probably be St. Francis, I would say.
Yeah,
Think the way
more than
it
likely.
looks.
Mhm.
But
And we're
yeah,
talking St. Francis of Fort Wayne. There's two
you're
St.
right.
Francises.
Yeah.
And,
Illinois will stay over in the West.
Coach Donnelly just retired this last year from St.
Yeah.
Francis of Fort Wayne, so they have a new coach. But we also have in that league, Defiance came in basically to replace Concordia,
Mhm.
and in effect, you're going to be the one that comes in to replace Siena Heights
Right.
out of Michigan.
Right.
But the conference in and of itself is guaranteed to get 2 teams in national playoffs
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah. You get two automatic bids with whoever wins the 2 sides, and it was a situation where we really couldn't pass up the opportunity. It's a good chance to, just kind of secure things for long term for our program and the school, and it's just something that we're excited about, for sure, but we're also working our butts off to try to get things done right now.
Well, no pressure, right?
Right, no, none at all.
You came into St. Mary's, like you said,
Mhm.
and with your leadership and everything there, you guys, the first year, you went to the championship.
We won it. Yeah, we
Yeah.
won the tournament championship.
Did you surprise yourself?
Oh yeah, we did. And our players will even tell you, the guys that are still around, that there were several times where, as a coaching staff, you were in the middle of practice and you just a couple weeks into it, and you're looking at each other like, what are we doing here? It was tough to bring it together. Honestly, we had literally 2.5 months to recruit a team. We ended up getting 63 commitments, but only 48 ended up coming. And then, we lost a few to start the season with. And then next thing you know, we're at 44. And we go to Calumet our first game, fall behind 28-6 in the first half. And you think, man, they literally ran for over 300 yards in the first half. We couldn't stop them. Luckily we got a fumble, scored at the end of the first half, and then ended up coming back, win that game in overtime. And it really catapulted us into that season to where now we had confidence, because it was proven that Calumet had a really good team. They always have, and for us to come back in a game like that, and then we had our backup quarterback. We were down to 1 running back. We had a linebacker take 2 carries in the game, who luckily had played for me at Sullivan. So,
Well, it sounds like
Oh,
high
it was-
school football
it
at
was
a
a-
small level.
It was, and then going into our next game against Quincy, we have a ton of injuries from the first game, because none of those kids were in shape to play football, and that was a vicious game. Just the hits and everything, and so we ended up with 29 guys for our second game, and we played nobody both ways. We had all new receivers, and we beat Quincy 21-7, and it was just like, man, I was so glad to get out of that game. I remember telling Trey on the headset, he's like, hand it off. We got to get this game over with.
That's why
And,
I'm at St. Mary's. Prayers work.
Yeah, exactly. So,
No, you look, that's where it started.
yeah.
Okay, and the last couple years you've been in the championship game. You were conference champion in the regular season this
Yeah.
last year. But I can see the reason that St. Mary of the Woods is taking this step is because they can see that sprint football is going to have a hard time staying active and being able to participate without the addition of a couple more schools.
Yeah.
And that's not happened. And
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
yeah.
applaud the St. Mary of the Woods, leadership for looking and saying, okay, this can't happen, but we really like football. We think it's done a good job for the student body and campus, and it's really encouraged the campus. And with that, they know they're going to have to do some other things like build a stadium and those kinds of things
Yeah.
are going to come down the road. But it started with, like you said, not much, and now
Yeah.
you're going to have to take a couple big steps.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
again.
And there's a lot to it. I mean, you don't really think of, it's just like when we first started the program, literally we started with a chair and a phone in an office. That's what we had, and Thomas Henderson, who's moved on to Bloomington South to be their strength and conditioning guy, he was with me to start with, and then brought in Trey and Griff and everybody a little bit later. But when we first started, I mean, you sit down and you start thinking about everything that you need, because we literally had nothing. We had one football that was floating around campus somewhere, but everything else, I mean, uniforms hadn't been bought, and we got 2.5 months. We're messaging 500 guys a day, trying. And some days you don't hear back from one of them, and you just got to keep every day, just putting your head down and working.
Well, again, if you don't know what it's like to start one from scratch, a football program from scratch, Coach Powell has done that at St. Mary of the Woods. And even though it is sprint, and some of you are going to go, well, yeah, it's just sprint, it takes an awful lot to get started. And you've done a great job in putting St. Mary of the Woods at the top of sprint football. We'll be back in just a moment, and we'll be able to talk to him about what it's going to be like to try to take this program at St. Mary of the Woods up a couple more notches, put them in an NAIA league that is just outstanding, and do that.
You keep reminding me of that.
It is.
Thanks, man.
No, I know. I mean, I know.
Yeah, I know.
That's what it is. My son coaches in a league. That's just what it is. It's an outstanding league, and for St. Mary of the Woods, it's going to give huge opportunities in Indiana for more kids to have an opportunity to play football, go to school, and those things. We'll talk about that when we come back. Again, you're watching Timeout with Coach here from Coach's Timeout Bar and Grill in Brazil, Indiana.
Fearless Designs is your champion for the finest in laser engraving.
Maybe.
Fearless Designs does everything from trophies, hats, key rings, knives, signs, glassware, ceramic mugs, and insulated mugs. Fearless Designs is an Indiana company serving the entire United States. No order is too large, and no order is too small. Contact Fearless Designs for all your promotional needs.
The city of Brazil was founded in 1866. By 1876, there were 2 schools, 7 dry goods stores, 2 hardware stores, 4 churches, and 5 drugstores. One of those drugstores is still there today, Lynn's Pharmacy. Lynn's Pharmacy has grown from a small neighborhood drugstore to a modern pharmacy, offering prescriptions and medical equipment with old-fashioned values and unparalleled service. You can even step back in time and visit Lynn's Soda Parlor
here at Lynn's Pharmacy, downtown Brazil.
Do you have experience as a licensed plumber? Local 157 is looking for you. Payment packages with benefits over $65 an hour. We're the place to find comfort in your career. Plumbers and Steamfitters, Local 157. Kickstart a comfortable life.
There was a time when your local pharmacy defined your community. Before the days of long lines and drive-through national chains, pharmacists gave your health personal attention, and you're always met with a familiar face. Back then, your questions were always answered, even when you forgot to ask. In Brazil, Indiana, that friendly local pharmacy has always been Lynn's Pharmacy since 1872. We are a modern pharmacy with the latest technology, still deliver that old-fashioned, friendly personal service today. Experience the tradition with your family at Lynn's Pharmacy in downtown Brazil.
And welcome back. Talking football, and I'm just going to give kind of an overview of what's gone on in Indiana in the last 15 years. With St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer, when they folded, and they were a Division II football school. The only other Division II football school in the state of Indiana is the University of Indianapolis, UIndy.
Right.
We had other schools that tried to pick up the pace, and that was done through NAIA football. So you had Marion that started their program, and Ted Karras left Rose-Hulman to end up going to Marion and build a really strong program.
Right.
St. Francis in Fort Wayne was already strong when they started football in the 1990s. I mean, they ended up winning a national championship, and Coach Donnelly did a great job there. Taylor had always been playing football in NAIA, and when the other schools in their league, the Hoosier Buckeye, went Division III, they stayed NAIA. And now Indiana Wesleyan has come into the league and start with a startup. So it's not uncommon to have schools in Indiana expand in NAIA football.
Right.
The advantage I think you're looking at is the Wabash Valley.
Yeah. I mean, there's no, we still have to, fight off the D3s more than anything. But we've got a good base already set with 37 out of our 73 are from the Wabash Valley, and then in the state of Indiana, 49 out of our 73 are from the state of Indiana. And we do have some really good relationships, of course, with the coaches in the Wabash Valley. I was a member of the Wabash Valley Coaches Association, coached in the All-Star game, I think 10 or 11 times, and there's some great talent, and we want to keep it home, and we've done a really good job of that. And the great thing is the players that we're getting are playing. I mean, they're on the field now, and they're playing well, and we want to continue to do that. And I know the visits we've had already from the 26 recruits have been great from the Wabash Valley and the state of Indiana. We've got a lot more kids available to us, and we're taking advantage of that. And we want to get the best from Indiana that we can get and give them an opportunity.
Well, in sprint football, you really couldn't go after those premier guys because the premier guys, honestly, weighed over 200 pounds.
Right.
And now you can go after the best players in the Wabash Valley. The only team you really have to worry about is Indiana State, and that doesn't happen as much as what people think it does.
Right, yeah.
And I think you have an outstanding opportunity to recruit the Wabash Valley and pull in a lot of the best athletes that we have.
Yeah, I mean, I really believe we do, and that was the goal from the beginning. And I remember whenever I was interviewing, both times I interviewed, it was I tried to get through to them that we want to build this from the Wabash Valley out. I mean, you hear that a lot, or we're going to be Indiana first, but we are. I mean, the second most amount of players that we have from another state is Texas. We have 11 right now. We have really good relationships down there, but I mean, you look at it. I mean, Indiana's our main one, and then Kentucky, Illinois, and Ohio don't even combine to even reach what Texas we get from Texas. So we spend so much time with the Indiana kids, and we want to continue that. And it's just a lot of times we had to wait till everybody else was kind of done with their recruiting, and then we would swoop in and get the ones that everybody missed. And now we can kind of pinpoint, we want to give this kid an opportunity to play right away, where maybe he may have to sit behind somebody at another school that's already, kind of.
Are you able now, because like you said, you've got players from Texas, you've got players from California, you got players from all over, really.
Right.
I mean, you had a couple of players from Hawaii.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Is this going to continue to be able to grow for you and help you?
Yeah, I mean, we'll still have to recruit nationally, and the neat thing is we're constantly got kids, reaching out to us now, and now we can evaluate film and say, yeah, this is a kid that fits our system, or so we're gonna, but most of our focus is Indiana.
Yeah.
And we'll continue that.
When you look at that recruitment, and you talked earlier about bringing kids in, you like to bring them in individually. Tell me why you're trying to recruit individually rather than bringing them in, because a lot of schools, if you didn't know this, folks, they're going to bring in 40 or 50 recruits on a weekend, and they're going to bring everybody in and kind of run them through like cattle. Your recruiting is a lot different. You do it differently than other places. Why do you do it that way, and what's your purpose?
I mean, the purpose of it is we're a relationship-based coaching staff the way it is. I mean, we're very, very involved with our players. So we want to get to know that player, and I feel like if you're bringing in, 20 or 30 on a Saturday, and you're kind of running them through a tour, you're putting them in an auditorium and telling them about your program, but they're sitting there with their parents, and they never really get to know you as a person. They don't get to ask questions personally of you. And that's what I want. I want people to know me, know our coaching staff. Our whole coaching staff that we have on campus is always there at every time we sit down and talk to a family and a recruit. and we'll continue to do that because I want them to know all of them. I want these young coaches to be able to be asked questions and ask them questions. And I remember when my son Trey was going through recruiting, and some of the visits, you would go up there and you're one of 100 in an auditorium, and you're just basically just following people around, and you don't really learn anything about the coach and even your position coach. And it's just we want it to be a personal thing, and we want all the focus to be on that recruit for that period of time, instead of basically I feel like it's wasting 2.5 hours of their time, other than, oh, this is a nice school. And here they're getting personalized tour, with one person taking them around. And the good thing is we have Austin taking them around right now. He's working for admissions, and and he knows everything about everything. You just have to ask him, but he does a great job with that. And also our ambassadors that we've had do a really good job of just knowing the campus. And the neat thing is people that come to our campus are amazed by it. A lot of people didn't even know it was there. And it's like, this place is beautiful. I love it. It's we had a kid from Lafayette Harrison today that is a big history buff. So he was just like amazed by the buildings and when they were built and the history behind them and things like that. So it's just a great opportunity to get one-on-one time with a recruit, where if you have 20 or 30, I just feel like you're
get lost in the numbers.
Yeah, and we don't get a big influx of guys that want to come on a Saturday, because they're busy at another school or something. So we take them through the week and give them that individual a visit, and it's worked well for us. It really has.
Well, you talked about when you go to recruit. When did you really start and know that the NAIA recruiting was going to be able? Was it after the announcement, or were you able to kind of get things started before and understanding?
Yeah, we got things warmed up a little quick. Maybe jumped the gun a little bit. I know we jumped the gun as far as our sprint football, other sprint football teams in our league was concerned. I don't think they're very happy with it because we're out there offering 280-pound, guys, and that was on me, really. Like I said, I'm not a real patient person, and I was like, man, we're gonna fall behind. We're gonna fall behind if we don't get going. So I gave the coaches a green light to go after them, and then we got put on pause there for a little bit, and then turned around. We hit the gas again. So
well, you got stuck. Your first year, you got stuck behind the eight ball. Really,
yeah. So
you had what, 2 months, 2.5 months was all you had to recruit a team and staff.
Yeah, you talk about stress. That's stressful. I mean, when I got there, literally we had 5 commitments. And
you think you've earned a little gravy here for switching to NAIA?
I don't know. I just put my head down and work, and I figure, if it happens, it happens.
Well, and I know, and we've talked a little bit on what's going on, but I have a young man who's like super pumped. He has the opportunity to come to your place and play, and he was just beside himself as to how he thought the place was, because he hadn't been on campus at St. Mary of the Woods. And one of the things that's probably the best kept secret educationally, I know, in the Wabash Valley, people haven't gone through there. Mm-hmm. And I've had a lot of different students that I've had that have gone through. They just love the place.
That's
when you go to sell the campus and sell things going on. What do you tell the parents? What do you tell the players?
I mean, as far as the campus itself, I mean, it sells itself. Just it's a beautiful place, and it's a place where, you can come in for 16 weeks at a time, concentrate on your academics and whatever sport you're playing, and it's a peaceful place. We don't have a bunch of frats and sororities and things like that. And it's just close enough to Terre Haute if you want to go, get involved with, whatever's going on in town, you can, but yet it's got just the peacefulness of campus, and really with the amount of athletes that we have on campus, it really became more of like a sports community, really, of students supporting each other in each sport, and we've had a lot of success in other sports. But the main thing that we sell is I've never seen a school be so give so much support to students. I mean, there's so many people that look out and want these students to be successful, whether it be our student success, whether it be our professors on campus, coaches, just everybody around them. I mean, are looking out for them, and we have a great system in place to alert each other if we see, a student starting to slip, and there's a way that we can get to them in different ways and talk to them about that. And it's been great to see that evolve as well. And it's just we always say that you can't really miss class there because you're probably going to see your professor in the dining hall later that day. It's small enough to where everybody knows everybody and you can't get away with anything, but it's just a great place. It really is.
When you look at just this overall feeling, what has it done to the campus? I mean, you came in 2017. You said you interviewed then.
Well, that was 2022.
Or
21.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah.
Okay. So as this all starts to take place, the change that St. Mary of the Woods has had in terms of number of people, and we talked to Kevin Lanke about this in multiple ways. What's that growth look like when, in your view, as to when you walked in the door to what it is now? What's the growth look like?
It's totally different. I mean, I think at first there was a lot of people, even on campus, that were apprehensive of it. It was a girls' school until 2015.
Right.
Never had football there, and a lot of people probably thought it was a crazy thing to even try, and so there's going to be certain attitudes when you first get there, and just kind of, this isn't going to work. And then, our first year, I mean, we pushed the envelope with a lot of the guys that we got, and but they, it's really evolved in a positive way, though. I feel like it's almost brought more of that support out of everywhere, whether it be support at ball games, whether it be support in the classroom. It's really, I feel like football's kind of turned it into an actual college campus feel. There's more people there, and we've increased our enrollment about every year, and we're going to increase it by even more next year when we add 35 or 40 guys. So I feel like it's been a really positive thing after the, and at first, I've been in situations where something new's coming at me and I'm apprehensive about it, and I'm standoffish, and because I don't know anything about it. But once they gave us time, they saw what we were trying to tell them is this is what it's going to be. Just give us a couple years to get ourselves ready, set on what we're doing.
I think you came in at an opportune time too, because you've got a new president, you've got a new associate president in charge of athletics. So it's not an athletic director; it's right up there.
Yeah, works closely with our president.
Yeah, and you got your president and your person in charge of athletics working hand in hand, and they're both. I've known them both for
long time. Huh?
Yeah. But I knew your president before while he was at another institution and he was an instructor.
And he's been awesome. I mean, Brennan, he was part of the interview process with me the second time when I got hired, and he was our vice president of enrollment at that time. And he gave our pregame speech before our first game ever. He's done prayer with our team before games. He's talked to our team. He's always been so supportive of us. It's been great. Anything that you need, he works to get it done, and that means a lot to have that kind of support. And then when Kevin came in, it's the same thing. Always working to make things better.
Yeah, if Kevin tells you sun's going to come up in the west tomorrow, look to the west.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That's how we got involved with we had done some stuff with St. Mary's in a previous administration.
Mm-hmm.
And when Kevin came over and called me and said, "Hey, will you come talk to me? We want to talk about you doing athletics at St. Mary's." And I believe in him and the president both.
Yeah.
And said sure. And
We're glad you did. I'll tell you that. It's been great. It really has. It's been awesome.
We're looking for more great things out of you. No
Yeah.
pressure on your back, you know.
Yeah.
Hey,
It doesn't matter, man. We're gonna work at it. We'll get it done.
we have confidence in you. I mean, it's just one of those things that was meant to be,
Yeah.
and the right people came together, and on a nice campus that was able to grow and to develop and be personal.
Yeah.
And they have a ton of scholarships they're giving out
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah, and I feel like we're only going to grow more. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like there's we're trending that way, and that's what we want.
We'll be back in just a moment, talk some more football, Pomeroy football, here on Indiana Sports Network. We're glad you've joined us, and again, Blaine Powell is our guest, the head coach at St. Mary of the Woods.
Do you have experience as an HVAC service tech? Local 157 is looking for you. Payment packages with benefits over $65 an hour. We're the place to find comfort in your career. Plumbers and steam fitters, Local 157. Kickstart a comfortable life.
Fearless Designs is your champion for the finest in laser engraving. Fearless Designs does everything from trophies, hats, key rings, knives, signs, glassware, ceramic mugs, and insulated mugs. Fearless Designs is an Indiana company serving the entire United States. No order is too large and no order is too small. Contact Fearless Designs for all your promotional needs.
Indiana Sports Network cups given to guests on Timeout with a Coach are provided by Fearless Designs.
All right, Coach Powell, I'm going to show you something here. See this thing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's Fearless Designs makes these, and this is what our, you can take that one home with you.
Hey, that's awesome. Thank you.
So it's got
Yeah.
our logo on, the whole deal.
Yeah, that's cool,
Really
man.
Appreciate them.
Appreciate that.
Joining with us. That's one of our advertisers
Yeah.
that we use, and they do a great job in all the things that we've seen anyhow.
Right.
Multiple different things that they do there. Give those folks.
Surprised my wife didn't try to take all three already. She seems to collect these.
Well, these are unique.
These are the red ones.
Oh, okay.
And these were significant because these were the first night.
Oh, okay.
The first night, he got one. John Crooks, who's not here tonight, got one, and then our guest coach got one as being the premier.
That's awesome. Man.
So yeah, we get to do all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of doing fun stuff, you have a lot of fun stuff that you get to do. And when I say this, almost everybody wants to be a head coach.
Yeah.
But once you get to do it, it's a whole nother ball game.
Yeah, it is. It's there's a lot to it. I always think to myself, and tell some people that I'd just like to kind of be able to draw up some plays every once in a while. Thank goodness I got some good coaches, because it's very rare that I do. I mean, every once in a while, I'll draw up a package or two for Trey to look at and
They
see.
laugh at you?
Yeah, he probably uses one or two of them every once in a while, but not very often anymore. But yeah, there's just a lot. You're
As a head coach,
Yeah.
and what people don't realize, if you're a head coach at a college, most of your day is not spent with football, spent with, like you mentioned it right off the bat, relationships.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing in terms of what's going on. And you can look at anybody you want. I mean, the guys at Alabama and LSU and all the big name guys, if they don't have the relationships built with those student athletes, you're going nowhere.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they got to know you care, and to do that, you have to be, you have to be honest with them, whether it's good or bad. You have to be, you just have to be around them. You have to make an effort. I always told our coaches whenever, I coached high school is, when we're in the weight room, that's the reason why I want you in the weight room is not because you know what they're doing or what. I don't want you to be a coach in the weight room. I want you to go around and talk to each kid and ask him how his day's going. I try to make a point to, just say pre-practice, I try to talk to as many kids as I can before practice. We do things like we film everything in practice, whether it's going to the water, shaking hands after practice, whatever, because we want to keep an eye on a kid and know if he's going through something. I always joke around with kids that I know when you and your girlfriend broke up, just because watching film, I know when you're different, you know, and it's, you know, you learn to, you know, pick up on those things and know the kid personally enough to where, you know, whether he's up or down. And,
Well, it'd be a lot easier if you had an all-boys school.
yeah, no kidding. We're not there yet. That's for sure. But yeah, it is important, and you got to create relationships around campus. I mean, you know, like I was saying before, a lot of people were apprehensive. Well, it's because they didn't know me, they didn't know my coaching staff. So, you know, we try to get around and you know, let people know who we are, and we treat everybody the right way. You know, it's not a something where, you know, well, we're football, you got to do that. You know, we need this done now. It's, you know, we're here to help, and we do a lot. We do a lot around campus when, you know, when needed, and we'll continue to do that.
And we've seen you guys at basketball games, because we're broadcasting basketball games.
Yeah.
We see you there. It's not like you're just sitting in the stands doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Usually something's going on with your assistants. They're down helping out with, you know, at the table, doing all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
And that's noticed. It's noticed in a high school program. It's especially noticed in the college program.
Yeah, and I'm just a big sports fan in general. You know, I don't care what sport it is. If it's right in front of me, I'm gonna watch it. You know, and I'm a big fan of our school and all the coaches and everything they're developing. And you know, it was a great year last year, and I think it's going to be even better this year for us.
Now, I've looked at facilities, and I know that's up in the air right now as to what's going on. And
Sure.
the facility I'm looking at that I know is going to need some expansion is the weight room.
Yeah.
Because you've got a weight room, it's well equipped, but it's definitely not going to be big enough to handle 100 kids.
Right.
And those kinds of things, and even in high school, when you and I were coaching in high school, I had places that were not big enough, and you have to think outside the box to get all those things done. You're still having to do that, though.
Yeah, that's what we do. I mean, really, you know, we're not going to be expanding our weight room anytime soon. So, I mean, the way we do it is we come in. You know, during the season, we're lifting twice a week, and plus we give them the option to lift on their own, with you know, guidelines of what we want them doing. But you know, during the season, we're twice a week, and we go at 6, 7, and 8 o'clock in the morning, and we base that. We go 3 groups, and we base that on their class schedule. You know, so if they got an 8 o'clock class, they're going to lift at 6 o'clock in the morning. And that gives them enough time to get breakfast, get a shower.
Oh,
6 o'clock.
That's late.
I know, but since I got out of the service, 6 o'clock doesn't come twice a day.
Yeah. Well, for a lot of our guys, they only had one 6 o'clock, you know, on their clocks too. But the neat thing has been, since we started doing that, our 6 o'clock group is consistently our best.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And our 8 o'clock's the one we have trouble with a lot of times. Or even the 7 o'clock.
Different type of commitment.
Yeah. So we've been able to do that, and that's worked out great. And you know, we may have to bump it to 6, 7, 8, and 9, but you know, we'll do what we have to do to make it comfortable for them. You know, whatever we do, we try to make it to where even if it's you know, stretching us thin, that's fine. But we don't want to stretch them, our players thin. We want them to be comfortable with what they're doing, and you know, to them, it's a big weight room because they're in there with 20 guys instead of 40 or 60.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what we'll do.
Well, it makes that relationship even more tight with those guys that are working out.
And some people are sitting out there wondering, well, why don't they have bigger facilities? And this was a girls' school.
Yeah, it was.
The girls' sports that they excelled in, they didn't need a large weight room. They didn't need large facilities.
I mean, whenever
and like he's also said, the school has grown every year for 4 years, just boom, 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 and it's going to jump, I think, bigger in the next 4 years than what has the previous 4.
Yeah,
I think you have a backing, and your financial backing has been pretty solid. Is that what you?
Yeah, I mean,
because that's the number one goal. I mean, we've seen multiple schools cancel out. I mean, Siena Heights is out. And Concordia in near Detroit is you know, those places have shut their doors, and we've seen those things happening. And there are schools all over the country, smaller schools having problems. St. Mary the Woods is not having those problems right now because I think they have a huge backing.
Yeah,
compared to other places.
And it's getting better. You know, it's I feel like our fundraising's been better over the last 2 years, and you know,
success doesn't help, does
it?
it?
Yeah, I think just getting the name out there and getting more people. You know, I felt like, you know, last year we probably had more people on campus than probably ever been on that campus, just with the success that all of our sports were having, and you know, that's been fun to see. And I think it's only going to grow, and as we grow, you know, I really feel like the most important thing we can do is set our sights on an on-campus facility for football, because then it's going to be for soccer, it's going to be for softball when they need it when it's raining outside. You know, it's to me it's just a no-brainer to help bring more people, because you get a game on that campus and it's going to be more people to see how beautiful that campus is and how well it's maintained, and everybody that is there taking care of it and everything. And I think that's really going to be a game changer. And it's going to bring more kids maybe that aren't athletes that want to come to that college. And that's what we want. You know, we want to be able to broaden that as we continue to grow as sports teams. We also want to continue to grow of non-athletes that come in there too.
Well, speaking of non-athletes, and when I look at this, what St. Mary the Woods is famous for different things, and some of the people probably don't even know what kind of degree programs that really make St. Mary the Woods different. What kind of things are you able to talk to the kids you recruit about?
I mean, we have one of the best nursing programs in the state of Indiana. I mean, it starts there, and you know, kinesiology's been big. We have a really good business major. Sports management has been huge for our guys the last 2 or 3 years. We now have a coaching minor that they can take. Trying to think here. We've had, I don't know, 6 or 8 guys in the criminology department, and some of the things they do with I mean, it's, you know, it's like that NCIS or whatever that stuff is, man. They do some pretty cool that forensic stuff. You know, it's pretty cool. They tell me about it, and but you know, we have over 40 majors, and it's now we've entered into a partnership with Marion University with engineering, where it's a 5-year plan where you go to St. Mary the Woods for 3 years. You get a bachelor's in math. Then you go finish out your last 2 years at Marion and get an engineering degree. We've also partnered with Marion University in a nursing to doctor program, and so it's you know, we've done some really neat things on the academic side as well.
Well, I knew that partnership was going to take place. A lot of people that was the buzz during basketball season.
Sure.
They're all excited about that because they knew, and they're kind of sister schools. They're not quite consolidated or anything that way, but they have a lot of things that they can tie together.
A lot of the same values and things like that.
And it's really helped St. Mary the Woods, I think, expand if you have those kind of degrees that you can offer those kids to come in and
I mean,
learn.
Yeah, it really helps that we do have a broad amount, you know, because, you know, kids anymore, I mean, they're looking for things that interest them, you know, and you know, I feel like we have a lot of good choices for that.
I'm gonna say one more, because you got to say this one. Equine studies.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
That's
in the country. It's amazing what they do out there. And, you know, I don't know anything about it, but it's neat to watch, and we love that they lead us out for our home games. That's you know, something we added last year that's been great, and you know, I know they work their tails off over there on that farm, and I mean, I drive in every morning and they're out there, you know, during the summer even. So it's pretty neat. It's a cool campus. I mean, to have that, and a lot of people don't realize it, but.
Well, I don't think people realize that the equine program is taking on Butler and
Ohio State,
I mean, IU, Purdue, Notre Dame, Michigan,
and successful. I mean,
beating them like a drum.
Yeah, there's been multiple people that have made the Olympics from St. Mary the Woods simply because of the equine studies.
Yeah,
and being able to.
And that program expanded this year too.
Yeah. So we're seeing all kinds of different things. And I'm going to, before we get out of here, I'm going to let you do this because I do this to several other coaches. And this is your time. You're going to look right in the camera, just like you're talking to the parents, in a sit-down conversation. Why? And if I had a son, you're going to tell me why my son should look at St. Mary of the Woods football to come and play.
Well, first of all, I mean, you're going to get a chance to play right away for us now, starting at 26.
No bench time.
Yeah, no bench time, man. But no, we do want to build it through recruiting, more than really just like, bringing in a load of transfers. We really do want to start with the state of Indiana and everything. But, why come here is you're not going to get any more support from anybody, I feel, that is what you're going to get from us. Not only the coaching staff, but everybody around that campus. Like I was explaining earlier, you're not just a number at St. Mary of the Woods. You're a member of that campus, and everybody's going to know you. And one thing I feel like we really do a good job of is we find kind of what your niche is within our team, and we're going to highlight that. I don't care what it is. Whether you're a great pass rusher, whether you're a great receiver, runner, whatever, special teamer, it's going to be highlighted. You're going to be out there in those situations to make you successful. We're not going to, make you uncomfortable, putting you in places where you've never been before you're ready. And, that's something I'm proud of, that we do look to get, I feel like my job is to, where can I find you a place to be on the field? Because that's what you came here to do. And there's never a dull moment in practice. You're never going to stand on the sideline. You've been to our practices. We don't have guys stand on the sideline. They're out there on the practice field. They're getting filmed. They're always being evaluated. That's one thing I do is I probably watch 10 times more practice film than I do game film, just because I want to see what kids are developing and what kids need help. Where do we need to, what can we do to make them be able to get on that field? And, it's, I feel like we've proved that our system works, and, they're not going to get cared about like they are here. I mean, really.
And we've seen that through
personally.
Not just the football team. We've seen that through other things, but especially with the football team.
Yeah.
And, like I said, I had a chance to potentially hire one of your senior graduates.
Yeah.
And it kind of fell through, but man, super knowledgeable young man.
Oh, yeah.
A guy that was trained correctly and understands the roles of what's going on. And what he's saying, folks, is true, and I can vouch for it. We've seen it happen. You run an excellent program. We're going to wish you nothing but the best as you move up in NAIA competition in the Mid-States Football League, which I honestly believe is the number one football conference in the NAIA in the country. They usually have 3 or 4 teams ranked in the top 25. And that makes it really difficult, but at the same time, you have some stuff to shoot for.
We're not afraid of challenges.
No, it's going to be the biggest challenge he's had, folks. And I know the people at St. Mary of the Woods are backing you in what's going on, and that's the important part. Those kids are going to get backing from everybody on campus, and that's awesome.
And you're going to get backing from us, because we're going to be there every step of the way.
Appreciate it.
We've made a commitment to St. Mary's.
It's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Joining us.
Really do. Thank you so much.
For Tony Harper and myself, Herb King, our guests tonight, Blaine Powell, the head football coach at St. Mary of the Woods. We'll wish them the very best as they not only play this fall in sprint football, but transition into NAIA football here in 2026.
Fearless Designs is your champion for the finest in laser engraving. Fearless Designs does everything from trophies, hats, key rings, knives, signs, glassware, ceramic mugs, and insulated mugs. Fearless Designs is an Indiana company serving the entire United States. No order is too large, and no order is too small. Contact Fearless Designs for all your promotional needs.
Indiana Sports Network Cups, given to guests on Timeout with the Coach, are provided by Fearless Design.